Hey guys, so in this video we'll see 4 lab questions. So in this lab question you plan to connect a virtual network named vnet.1017 to your on-premise network by using both Azure Express Route and site-to-site VPN connection. You need to prepare the Azure environment for the planned deployment, and the solution must maximize the IP address space available for Azure virtual machines. So we have to give enough room or space so that we can accommodate virtual machines, more virtual machines. Let's see how we can achieve it through the portal. So select your resource group, give it the name, and the network sections, enter your IP address. So the vnet IP range that you want to. So for me it is starting with 10.1.0.0. Yeah, and I'm just adding the CDR, the default subnet in this vnet. So yeah, I'm just putting it 10 and just creating 251 virtual machines space in this subnet. So you can have 10.1.2, 3, 4, and you can have multiple subnet, or you can have just one subnet and accommodate as many as VMs that we're planning to. So from the lab question perspective, we need to prepare this VNet for the site-to-site and the express route. So we need to have the gateway, and for the gateway we need this much space so that it can be configured and managed. So here you go. So this is basically the gateway that I'm looking at, and 28, yeah, and it's giving me 11 IP address here. So, or you can just have some more space reserved for the gateway, but 28 is something which is recommended, and if you want more then you can go with the 27. So subnet here, and as you can see we got 11 IP address reserved for the gateway purpose, and maximum address reserved for the subnets where multiple machines can be added there. So the next question here is you plan to create several virtual machines in different availability zone, and then to configure those virtual machines to load balanced. You need to create an IP address resource name IP1006 to support the planned load balancing solution. So solution must minimize the cost. Let's see how we can achieve it through the portal. So essentially we need to create a public IP. So create a public IP, and that will be attached with the load balancer. So this is a Microsoft site, and what is saying that on the public IPs we have two types of SKUs, the basic one and the standard one. So for the basic one, definitely don't support the availability zone scenario that is here. So if we need availability zone support, then we must use standard SKUs. So this is basically what it is. We need to just create an IP address resource and making sure that the SKU that we select is standard one. So let's see, go on the portal and see. So here we go, the public IP, add, and we have the option standard one, give the name as per the ask that is in the question. So IP1006. Okay, so here is the name, and you can just put that DNS name. So I'm sure you must have gone through with the public and private DNS. So this IP will get it resolved by this name. So that entry will be in this DNS. So yeah, and go, yeah, here it is correct. Here is your DNS name, so I just put it there, resource group, where you want to put it, and just leave it the availability zone, zone redundant. So as you can see that descriptions here. So as per the question, the ask here is to just create a public IP resource, and yes, we created the IP resource here which supports zone ability. This marks the end of the questions. So the next lab question is, you need to deploy an Azure virtual machine named VM104 based on the Ubuntu server image, then configure that image to meet following criteria. The first one is that must store the 15 TB of the data, and data disk must be able to provide 2000 IOPS. Storage cost must be minimized. Yeah, so let's see how we can achieve it through the portal. So go to the virtual machine. So let's put the virtual machine name here as per the ask, and the image is Ubuntu. So yeah, Ubuntu server image, let it be there, and we'll see that disk in the next tab. Let it be everything like that, and move it to the disk section. So OS disk type, so as in the question there is no any such ask that would be, so we'll go with the premium as it is recommended. And the question is more about the data disk and the size. So disk name, let it be everything as is now, and this is something the ask is. So this is the Microsoft page where you can see the standard SSD supports the 2000 IOPS, so we'll go with the standard one, and because the cost must be minimized, so we'll go with the where it fits the requirement. And also as you can see, we don't have any 15 TB slab here, so wherever we can see that it fits, it's fitting there. Okay, so but even we select 1500 GB, which is equivalent to 15 TB, but the cost would be applied for which slave you select here. As you can see, Microsoft is clearly laid out in the bottom. So we'll go with that only because it supports the 50 TB of the data. And here you go. So the ask here is to have the data disk with the 50 TB of the data can be stored, and 2000 IOPS, which is something which is coming from the standard SSD as per the specification documentation that Microsoft has put in on the portal. So this marks the end of the question, and yeah. Okay, so the next lab question that will say is, you plan to deploy several Azure virtual machines and to connect them to a virtual network named vnet.107. You need to ensure that the future virtual machines on vnet.107 can register their name in an internal DNS zone name. Okay, so whenever we will create any VM into that vnet, that has to be registered in the DNS zone. Okay, so the zone must not be hosted on a virtual machine. So yeah, we should not be installing or setting up the DNS server on any of the virtual machines. So we would be utilizing the Azure private zone. Okay, and what should you do from the Azure Cloud Cell? So let's see how we can achieve it through the Cloud Cell. So I'm into Cloud Cell, and I'm just getting the reference of the VNet which I have created beforehand, and I'll show you. This is the ID that you would need it when you will establish that link with the DNS zone. So I just shown you where you will get it. So I'm just creating a private DNS zone with this name and to the same resource group. where the vnet resource group is. And let me show you. If you want to create a private DNS zone, then you have to come here and add it. But here, as you can say, I have just created through the CLI, and it's all the records are just listed here, the entry. So now we have to make the entry. Entry in the sense establish that link with the vnet and this zone, private DNS zone. So if you want to get it through the portal, you have to come here and add it, but the ask here is to get it through the CLI. So okay, so executed. Let me just refresh. As you can see, the link is established and the record is showing here. And here you go, and let me refresh it. So yeah, we got the VM entry here. So this is the VM that is in the vnet. So automatically get registered into this private DNS zone, and you can access through the name like wvm01 dot, and the name was. So I'm going to create another VM, and I'll quickly show you that it should be start reflecting into the private DNS zone, and it will get into automatically as we have attached established the link, with that DNS zone. So we got the second VM. Go to the private DNS zone, and here you go. Yep, you got the second VM entry here, which got automatically registered. This marks the end of this labs question, and without hosting any DNS server on any of the virtual machines, the VM that we create is automatically getting registered into the private DNS zone, and that can be accessed through the name. Thank you for watching this. Just if you liked it, if you think something that can be added or improved, just leave your comment, and just stay tuned for the next video. Thank you.